Hey everyone, it's Phoenix, and today I'm going to do a video to talk about the update that I'm about to release to the add-on Master Recipe List for Elder Scrolls Online. It's an add-on I wrote when I first started playing the game, and I still use it to this day, so I continue to update it with all the new additions to the game. So I guess I was just going to go through some of the new features, mainly the furniture. I have actually included in this version all of the furniture that was added with the Homestead patch, so that's something a lot of people were asking for. I know that it took me a while, it's almost Morrowind release at this point, but as some of you may know, I do struggle with some disabilities, and I'm in a pretty hard situation, so I kind of have to limit my time that I can spend on stuff. Um, there's a whole other weird thing to that I don't want to go into too much. But suffice it to say that the ZeniMax user license agreement has a really bizarre clause that explicitly forbids requesting people donate for your work. Um, they even go into details about you can't, like every other artist that I know has a patron page, and they, put up on there a goal like I want to work on this project or this project. If I get this many donations, just a couple $100 for like rent or internet connection or whatever, then I will continue to prioritize working on this. Well, you're not allowed to do that, so yeah, I don't really have a lot of time and resources to work on all the things I'd like to. I mean, I'd like to do a lot more with Surrender, though I've done quite a bit with it. But anyway, that's really not what the video is meant to be about. So I guess the main thing, I just wanted to go through the features real quick. Pretty much all this is the same. When you open it up, you see the food categories. You can click on any of these plus boxes to show the list there. You see as you hover over them, you can see the tooltip. You can actually toggle by hitting this little cooking pot to show either the recipe for these entries or the actual result item that they're going to create. It also shows the level next to food and drink stuff. You can click to track, and when you're viewing a recipe, you can see then it adds to the tooltip on recipe tracking list. It will also put a check mark in your inventory. As you can see, when you have something, I don't really have anything to track. Maybe I do, I'll check in a second. But you can keep track of that in different ways. To see them right off the bat at guild stores, for example, is one thing that tracking is really handy for, because those checks show up in the guild store list of stuff. This thing you see at the top, I'll go over in a second. You can toggle that on and off with this. There is a search function, so you can text search for things. It's really fast, and track them that way, or just view them that way. You can clear the items that you have tracked by clicking on this button here, Clear Active Search List. If you're on a writ and you hit this little check mark, it will search for the items that are needed for the current writ. It will also automatically color the items at a cooking station, which I will also show in a bit. Um, and below the actual categories of food and drink, there is the extra stuff that's been added sort of over time. So there's the Sigic Ambrosia stuff, which is the XP potions. There is the Orsinium stuff, the Witches stuff, the New Life stuff, and the Jester stuff. And I'm sure there'll be more with Morrowind, so I will add those too. With some cool icon. I swear it won't be a cliff racer, though. It'll be something else. And then there's ingredients. If you click on this item icon up here, you can also track ingredients. There is an auto junk feature in the option to automatically delete any ingredients that you don't check. You can also check a bunch of ingredients and then click this button to save it to a global profile, and then you can log in as a different user and load the global profile into that user. So if you want to copy the filter settings, you can also click random ingredients and click this button, and it will show all of the food and drink recipes that use the ingredients that you have checked. If you set the option to auto delete in the options, the add-on settings options, then if you have to also additionally highlight this, and there is an option in the, if you go to settings, hit escape, go to settings, um, add-ons, ESO master recipe list. That's the add-on settings. And then so you have to turn on either destroy junk recipes and destroy junk ingredients. You can auto delete recipes you don't want to, and there's like protection, like by default any recipe that is green or better will not be deleted even if you turn it on, won't even be set to junk if you even if you turn those on. So you would have to set that to a higher quality level. And then the amount to delete, it won't delete stacks of items greater than what you set here. But if you turn on let's see, what am I looking for? Enable tracking is just for the list that will show in recipes or in items of who can craft it or who knows the recipe already. Turning this on for each character will include their name in that list if they know a recipe. And pretty much the rest of these options are self-explanatory. You can enable a tracking character. So like say this character is your main provisioner, but you're on a different character. So you could turn this on and then select your main provisioner. And so on your alt then, any recipes that are not known by your main provisioner will show a check. And you can also show known icons. So if you don't have this on, it will show a gray check on recipes in your inventory that you already know. If you turn this on and have selected a character that you are tracking recipes on, then turning this on will show a gray icon if that character knows it. And then you can also have a tracking character to show green checks in your inventory for items that the tracking character doesn't know yet, so you save those, and then show the grays for items that you know, or yes, that you know, instead of that they know, if you wanted to separate those. So there's lots of options there. And then in the global options, there's some other cool stuff to do with the crafting station, which I'll cover. The main thing in here, though, is, and most of the, I think this is the default settings, but the show known by in tooltips, that's where you look at the tooltip and you see a list of characters that you're tracking that already know the recipe or that can craft the item that you're hovering over, and that works with furniture as well if it's a craftable furniture. And then show ingredients on result items. It's kind of cool. So like normally the game shows you the ingredients required to make something on the tooltip for a recipe, but if you check this option, I made it so you can also see the ingredients required on the result item. So like on the food, on the drink, or on the piece of furniture, you can have this show the same list of ingredients required to make it. And clear filters on startup is kind of cool. Sometimes people are saying they didn't see items at the cooking station. By default, I think the game automatically checks the filters where any recipe that you know that you don't have the skill to make yet or that you don't have the ingredients for, those filters are checked. So even recipes that you know won't sometimes show up. So if you turn this on, it will automatically uncheck those filters when you go to a cooking station. So you'll always see all the recipes. The ones that you can't currently make will just show in red, but they will be in the list. I think that's a better way of laying it out. And then this is where you can enable or disable the icon showing in your inventory for things that you currently have tracked, like recipes that you don't know, the icon, the check mark for if you're using a tracking character and tracking which recipes that your provisioning character doesn't know yet. Anything to do with inventory check mark, you can enable it and disable it here. You can also tweak the horizontal position so it lays out better with whatever interface you're using. Same thing with guild store's position and the listing at the guild store position, so you can really customize where the icons actually show up. And let's see, cooking station stat icons. I can't even remember what this does. Oh, these are the when you go to a cooking, I'll talk about this when you're at a cooking station, but basically, I have colorized the categories based on quality level at the cooking station. So like all the categories now are the appropriate color for legendary, epic, blue, green, etc. And also, like some food items just buff health, some buff health and magic. So red, blue, and green would be health, magic, and stamina. And a set of these stars will show next to each category now, telling you this items in this category, food or drink in this category, buff um, food or health and magic, or health all three, or just one, or whatever. You'll be able to see at a glance. It's kind of cool. Third-party add-on support, you can look at that. If you're using FCO, um, you can actually have it auto mark items if you want. That's another option. And then if you go into controls, um, if you have, I think it's lib add-on menu installed, you get a separate sub menu here for just your add-ons key bindings. Otherwise, it dumps them all into a huge list along with the game's default key bindings, which is what this is. I use lib add-on keybinds. The add-on is called lib add-on keybinds, just one word, to give you that separate menu. And it also has these check marks, which is really cool. So like once you've set your key bindings for one character, the way you want them on all your characters, just check the box here, and it will make the same key bindings on all your characters. Is very cool. So if you go into the add-on keybind, scroll down, and you'll see ESO master recipe list. You can set a key binding to toggle the recipe window. So that's what I was doing, is just and when you do, it didn't used to be this way, but I have made it now so that when you hit the keybind to bring it up, it automatically goes into mouse cursor mode. And then if you hit the button to toggle mouse cursor mode, it automatically closes master recipe list. That way you can bring it up and you don't have to separately, okay, I have to hit a button though to get the ability to move my mouse around without it moving my character screen. It automatically does that like any other menu, which is really cool. And so that's the keybind. You can also type, if you don't want to use a keybind, I believe it's slash MRL. Yes. For master recipe list, we'll also bring it up with a slash command. And then so the other thing is the furniture list. So this is the new edition, and it tracks things separately. It searches separately. So that's really cool. And if you do a search, it's like, oh, I spelled Redguard wrong. R-E-D-G-U-A. There we go. So there, you can quickly see all the things that are Redguard. And it's depending on which list you're on. If you search here, it only searches food and drink recipes. If you switch over to the furniture thing, and you search, it only shows results that are furniture. It is all separate depending on what mode you're in. And then as you can see, it searches the whole database, so you will see the results with the category that they're in next to them. So here's alchemy stuff, and it does it sequentially like you see it on the left there. So first you'll see all the hits for alchemy stuff. As you scroll down, there's blacksmithing. It also sorts it by quality, as the results are sorted by category and then by quality. So as you scroll down, you'll see all the stuff from all the different categories. Most furniture stuff is woodworking, I found, though there's quite a bit of all the stuff. And then same thing, you can track and untrack things. You can switch between showing the result tooltips. As you can see there, it's got the ingredients in the tooltip because I turned that option on. Or the recipe. And if you're showing the recipe, you can see the if you are tracking it, it will show that indicator. And then on the left-hand side is the quality category. So these are all the alchemy formulas. These are all of the furniture items. Sorry, sometimes I have trouble talking. The furniture items that are made with alchemy. And as you can see as you mouse over these little triangles here, these are the quality levels. So some of them don't have the white starter junk quality level things. It just tells you there's none in that category. But it's like for green, you can show just the green alchemy stuff, the blue, The white stars are stuff that I don't know. If I'm tracking something that I don't know, it'll be a filled white star. The yellow stars that are not filled, as you can see on the right, it shows known by, and it will show the list of the characters that know it. And also you can track things that you know, and it'll be a filled yellow star. And if you, well, it only does this for the recipe, food and drink recipes, but if you're on it, because there's no writs for furniture yet, but the writs you can see in the legend here. Um, so there it shows that if it's required for the writ that you're on, it will be an orange star, and a tracked one will be a filled orange star. So just whatever. So all the different categories have their own sets of, you can basically view um, any set of items from any of the things. So if you just want to see purple provisioning furniture, or you can search by names, real easy. It's the easiest way to find stuff because right now in the game there is 1,108 um, furniture items that can be crafted. Um, I think that's what it is. Let's see. This is the select all button. This will set every single thing to track. Yeah, 1,108 patterns that you can learn to craft furniture, which is compared to, and these buttons work independently for what screen you're on too. There's only 558 food and drink recipes in the game, so I'm going to clear that. Another cool option is you can select, and I only have one character, but as you log into characters, you'll see more. But you can hit this button, and what this does is it will set every recipe that whatever character you select here doesn't know yet to track. So just by hitting that, you can see I have 51 recipes on this character. This is my main provisioner. 51 recipes out of 558 that I don't know yet, and it's automatically set those recipes to track. So as you can see, the only ones that are solid are the white ones because it's tracking now by hitting this button every single recipe in the game that I don't know yet. And you'll see check marks in the inventory if you see those recipes or at the guild stores. It makes it really cool for buying recipes you don't know yet because you just hit this button on your main character, go to a guild store and search recipes and just scroll through page after page and you'll see a check mark next to whichever ones you don't know yet. Really, really makes it easy. So there's that. And then let's see. I think that's the gist of this. Covered search, covered this stuff. Ingredients. Okay, so going to head over to a cooking station real quick so that you can see the additions to that if you are just checking out the add-on for the first time, because there's a lot of really big changes, and I should probably grab a writ as well because part of the changes is the way that it tracks writ. So let's see, I'm going to go and see where in Mournhold do you get a writ. I can't even remember. I'm guessing it's got to be over here though, because I think all the crafting stuff's over here. Down in the, oops. They're somewhere around here. I almost always do my writs in Craglorn, so I have no idea where they are here, but usually the writs bulletin board is wherever the crafting stuff is, so it's got to be around here. It's probably this one. Okay, so I'm going to grab a provisioning writ, and I think that well, there's an N here. I'll just do this one. I think there's a cooking fire all the way over on the other side of Mournhold outside, but I'm just going to go in here past the drunk Nord who is incinerating his feet, and downstairs, here we are. Okay, so first of all, if you go into here and hit this check mark, you will see the items that are required for the writ that you're on. And as you can see, if these tooltips were in your inventory or something, or if it was the food item, it's telling you that you either do or don't know it, but it's needed for your current writ. And then when you go to a cooking station, writs are super, super easy now. As you can see, oh, also in categories, I did mention, this is another add-on, ignore that. Um, cate- um, Categories are color coded now based on the quality of stuff they make. I did mention that before. But you can now click and expand and then close. That wasn't something you could do before. You couldn't close these. You couldn't have multiple of these open at the same time, which you can now. As you can see, the first of all, the stars. So meat dishes only buff health, fruit dishes only buff magic, only stamina. These ones buff health and magic. These ones health and stamina. These ones all three, and delicacies are special stuff like the experience potions and all of the like the event ones um, that scale from level 1 to max level. All of these have a fixed level range, but the delicacy stuff is any level stuff scales. So it tells you what the stuff is for, which is really cool. It's color coded, which is really cool. You can open master recipe list straight from here. You can um, disable the pop-up from showing here with the when you're making something. Like if I click on an item, I can turn off that tooltip. So that's new, and then you can actually click on an item and then search master recipe list, and it will find and track that item. I think that I might need to update that, but that's I've never used it anyway. But that's what that's supposed to do. I'll fix that before I release it. But you can. The thing with writs is makes these so cool. If you have ever tried to do a writ and you are like me and you have 500 something recipes, and you don't have this little check mark next to the thing, I mean, just imagine like, okay, so like let's scroll through the list here, and find the item that I need for the writ. Hello, that's like 500 and something. It's gonna take forever. So with this now, you have a check mark right next to the category that your writ item's in. So you open that category, scroll down, and there it is. The item that you need for the writ is highlighted. You just click on it, needed for current writ, craft it, and then you're done. And then you always have to do 2 for a writ. This is a different add-on, ignore that. So go over to drinks, same thing. Click on the category, scroll down to the yellow, click it, and you're done. And then once you've crafted it, it unhighlights it for you, so it's really super cool. Also, if you are tracking something, um, let's see, go back over to food here. If you are tracking an item in a category, it will show a blue check mark, just like the writs show the yellow check mark, so you can see what categories have recipes that you know that you're tracking. So you can make like a food list of stuff you want to craft by checking things that you know in here, and then going into the cooking station and opening the categories that have blue checks, and then finding the blue highlighted items are the ones that you wanted to craft. So you can really easily make a list of things to craft that way, and then of course clearing that clears all your selections. So lots of overhaul at the cooking station as well. So that's the features in a nutshell. The newest stuff that people in, let me close that. This is the new stuff. This is what this release is mainly about, is adding all the furniture stuff. So I've also updated the language files. Right now it supports English, German, French, Italian, Russian, and Japanese. And some of those translations, I added a few items that haven't been translated, and I Google translated the ones that I could, so they're not perfect. But if you open the language file in the main folder in the languages, you will see that the ones that still need translation are either not indented or they're commented out. So if you speak that language and you want to send me translations that are better, that would be really cool. I will get those included in a next major release. And that's pretty much it. Let me know if there is any problems or bugs that turn up. I can only bug test it so much myself, but I've been using it for a while now, and it's definitely working for me, which is, I usually make things for me first, but I do like to share the stuff that I make with other people, because if somebody else finds some use in it, I mean, that's like even better, right? So I hope you do enjoy it, and like and comment and subscribe and all that stuff, and have fun.